silo, if you already have the warehouse where you put the grains in, we're gonna suggest you to make minor adjustments, I forgot the word. And then it's gonna be it. It's gonna be like minor. You're not gonna have to spend a huge amount of money making adjustments to place our product.
It's speaking to the financial side of that, because your question is today, if somebody just purchased a product in the previous year, they have a large amount of sunk costs, that they might be hesitant to look at a new product until it's fully depreciated. So we decided to look at what was the possible total number out there of units where we believe that there could be at least 10,000 tons of grain going through that unit a year. And in North America alone, that number was 400,000. So if we said only 20% of those were in the market to look at something new because they had fully depreciated over 5 years their current, we're still talking in the hundreds of thousands as far as the potential consumers. And our target is to try to get 7 of those in that first year of marketing.
I want to be sure that I understand this bill. So I have a series of questions. First, your customer is primarily the farmers. Your customer?
No, our customer is co-ops or cooperative co-ops.
Co-ops?
Yes.
Okay.
Because the farmers, they grow the grain and then they deliver either to the industry or they deliver to these co-ops where they do the post-harvest processing.
But for large farmers, though?
Yes, those two. Those as well, sir.
Okay.
We set our number that there had to, for us to count them as a potential customer, there had to be at least 10,000 tons of grain. Now the average farmer may be more like 3,000 tons of grain, but there are some very large, so they may buy a dryer for themselves as opposed to paying a cooperative to dry and store their grain. But we're thinking more of these cooperatives, these grain silos near railroad tracks where the grain has to be processed and then stored until it's time for market. We're thinking as a...
Are you going to sell this product to the co-op or the large farmer, or are you going to provide the service? Or both?
We're gonna sell the product and also provide the service as teaching them how to use it, because this is a new approach for the post-harvest system.
But we are not franchising our equipment out that we still own it. There is a capital investment for this product and they will own it. We will teach them how to use it, but currently they're already buying a competitor's product because they must run their grain.
But your plan does not contemplate processing the grain for the co-op or the farm. You don't sell the equipment.
The investment in human resources is just beyond where we want to be as to do it that fashion, to keep the technology in-house and staff it.
Now, there was reference to a 30% savings. I think I'm right. Explain that. As I understood it in reading your plan, it's the prevention of spoilage that results in this savings. Is that correct?
Yes, and you can explain the prevention part. I'm not sure about the 30%. We believe that the current standard that's acceptable is 16% loss on the harvest.
It's 60%?
16,
16, okay.
But yes, we want to prevent spoilage.
And explain how that loss was incurred and how you're going to fix it.
Okay. Once you can lose the product in 2 ways. Once you dry the product, you can burn the product, you already lost it. And then once you process the grain in a dryer, once you dry the product, and if you burn it, you already lost it there. That's one of the things that we're fixing. And the other one, the major one, is on the storage grains. Because like the conventional industry, they don't have technology to prevent the bugs and infestation bugs and humidity and moisture like attack the grains. So what we do, we control the temperature and the moisture, and we make it safe for the grain. We make the grain to be in a stage of dormant.
In nature, usually if it gets too wet or it gets too warm, then the outer protective layer on the seed will actually be permeable, and the mold, the bacteria will be able to get in there and start deteriorating. So part of it is getting the moisture driven out and then keeping it at the right temperature where the mold can't get in there and get to it and destroy it.
Yeah, like on storage part of the system, the storage of grains, you can 98% of the loss in the storage is related to bugs, infestation, and to fungus. And then we take care of it by maintaining the temperature low and maintaining the humidity low as well.
And one of the exciting things is instead of it just being based on the farmer's skill or memory to get out there and check it and check all the different silos he has, the computer's actually monitoring that and letting the farmer know moisture's getting a little bit high in one silo, we better aerate that with some dry air and get that moisture out. Otherwise, the seeds within that storage shed will start to be deteriorate because they'll be more prone or open to that weakness.
And am I to assume that the current systems do not provide for the monitoring of
They do have monitoring search, but they monitor to temperature. That's all they rely on, temperature. If the sensor doesn't detect like a high temperature, they're not gonna do anything about it. But if they see that the grain is already burning hot, they're gonna fumigate it, they're gonna recycle it, like not recycle, but steer it or transsilo, like change from one silo to another, trying to correct that, and also fumigate. They're gonna fumigate it, and they're gonna apply harsh chemicals to try to prevent that. What?
The sum total of all this is that you end up getting a higher grade of grain, because right from the beginning of our process, not only are we recapturing grain that's typically lost, 16% of what we're talking about, but because of the superior software that we're talking about that controls the temperature or the ambient conditions of the grain, you end up having a higher grade product across the board. So you on the marketplace, that you're going to also command then a greater price for your particular grain, because you have more even high quality grain versus assuming that for all that we process, I'm not going to lose 15% or 60% or 20% depending on that farmer on the burn process and infestation.
And there probably isn't time to get technical, but the system's been designed with innovation at each step. So when you dry it, instead of sticking it basically up against hot metal, which will scorch what's near the metal and not get heat transfer across, this relies on more of an aeration of the heat getting in there so that you don't get the burning. They also rely on spreading out the grains as they come into the silo instead of letting it dump just in one center spot. Therefore, you get more of a piling instead of an even spreadage. And then when it comes to going ahead and capturing the dust, capturing the dust so that it's not inhaled, and then the computerized system, we've added more features to it so we get a better overall picture and we can really trust the computer to make more accurate decisions. Currently, the industry hasn't been pushed this way, and so the old conventional system that's been used for decades is still acceptable and sold. But we hope by introducing a new innovation that is leaps and bounds ahead, we're going to be the only one, we hope, that has these advantages to offer the market, which really distinguish us or differentiate us.
I don't understand the science exactly and the details of the technical specs that you mentioned, but let's put those aside for a second and work on the assumption, if I do understand correctly, that this solution is better, it's higher quality, there's less waste than what exists in the market now. And what exists in the market now is generally around the $1 million price point for these post-harvest type setups. So how do you guys create a product that is superior on all accounts and cheaper?
Well, my father has researched and developed this technology for more than 20 years. It wasn't something that we came up from last night or something. We've been working it, we've been researching on it, and we've been seeing what the conventional, what the current industry offers, and we always try to work for something better.
Thank you.